Hello friends, Hattie here with Honeybee Stampers. I'm going live for our very first day of our Christmas in July craft along. I hope that you'll be able to join me here over on Facebook, and then of course I will upload a recording of each of these videos this week over to my YouTube channel. And with Facebook deleting videos after 30 days, that's like their new policy, I guess, I definitely will have my videos over on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Honeybee Stampers, so that you'll be able to watch these videos as long as you like. So welcome to our very first day. Right in front of you here, you're going to see the tutorial that is part of this event. So if you purchase the kit from me, then you will receive this tutorial also. It's several pages long, and I've got them kind of separated and clipped off here by project to make it a little bit easier for me. But you will have already received this tutorial. Now for this week, we actually have a special going on that anybody who purchases from us, like from any of the girls who are doing this video, or this Christmas craft along. So if you purchase $50 from me in my online store, then you'll actually also get this tutorial for free, or you could purchase it for $25 over in my tutorial store. So the tutorials are great. They've got all of the projects on here. I have collaborated with 5 of my very most fun stamping friends. They're so talented and amazing, and the projects that have been designed in this tutorial bundle is amazing. So for this entire week, I'll be either going live or sharing a pre-recorded video of myself putting these projects together from start to finish, so that when you get your kit, you can actually put it together with me as well. All right, so let's get started. All right, I've already showed you the tutorial, and like I said, it's free for those of you who ordered the kit. And then I do have a couple extra kits available. After this video ends, I'll leave a link, not just in my the description of this Facebook post, but also over on my YouTube. I'll leave a description there or a link to be able to purchase the kit if you missed out on it and you want the stuff sent to you. And I'll go through what the kit entails. So you would receive a kit that looks like this. Okay, I'll just open this up. And a craft along is different. This is different than any type of event I've done in the past. So usually when I'm doing events and classes, I like to prep as much of the projects as I can ahead of time. But for this actual event, a lot of it is just raw material. You'll see all of these cardstock pieces here and sheets of DSP, and you're going to get the full embellishments. We do have a few of these die cuts that maybe you didn't have, and so we die cut some of those for you to make it easier on you. But a lot of it you're going to be prepping from start to finish. You will need the bundles that we're going to be featuring in order to complete these projects. Or honestly, if you wanted to, you could get creative with something that you have at home. If not, you can add on the bundles with me at cost. You don't have to pay shipping and tax on that. I'll cover that for you. But let me show you what's inside the kit. So you're going to get a cute little Cersei gift here, just a really festive necklace that lights up. It's super cute. And then you're going to get a little tag here. This is one of the bundles that we're featuring. It is the Jar of Joy. And so I'll show that to you in just a minute, but that's what that is. And it's funny because I didn't design this tag. My friend Erica did, and she used these little peppermints. Do you guys remember those peppermint embellishments that came out and they like sold out and they came back and sold out? I mean, they were a hot commodity. Well, I didn't have any. I didn't have any of them, but I did have peppermint washi tape that's super old. And so what I did was I just took the washi tape, I added it to some white cardstock, I punched it out and added it to the little tag here to make up for the fact that I didn't have the embellishment. So I was like, whew, thank goodness I had that washi tape. So that's what that is. You're also going to get a little candy from me. And so this is one of the fun Dubai chocolates. Have you guys seen those? I forgot to order the little cute little candies that everybody else was getting, which are little pepper, like candy canes. And I totally forgot to order those. And so I ended up getting these. These are those Dubai chocolates. And I just wrapped it in some of the designer series paper that we're featuring, and then used the stamp set and some embellishments that we're also featuring this week to create this cute little gift. So you guys will have to tell me if you like this. The Dubai chocolates are ridiculously expensive, like the big bars of them. But I was able to find these at a local Costco, and I just thought they were so cute, and I love the green. And when you see the ribbon, it kind of, you know, it looks a little bit goldish, a little bit green. So that's what inspired me to get those. All right, you'll also get in your kit a full pack of these embellishments. So these embellishments are the low profile sparkle dots. And they come in 3 different colors, 2 different sizes each. And so we'll be using these on all of the projects, which is great. You're going to get this pretty ribbon, a full spool of this ribbon or bolt or whatever you want to call it. This is the Mossy Meadow and Gold trim. It's gorgeous. Wait until you see it in action. You're also going to get some of this real red and white baker's twine. So we're going to use these on our projects as well. And then a cute little bag. So we're going to pop this bag up here. And it is just a very functional little bag that you can put all of your projects in. You could actually stuff it with something cute and gift this bag if you wanted to. You know, I'm always trying to think of gifting ideas. But yeah, it's a super cute little pop-up bag. I got my camera a little bit too close. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit. So there's the bag, and they've got little handles here. They're all different. So some of them are black like this they're all plaid, but some of them have like a gray color. Let's see what else. It was like a gray, a white, and then this black one. Very, 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 very cute. So, that's included in your kit. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to get the die cuts here. You're going to get this cardstock. You're going to have cardstock left over after you make these projects to continue to create if you wanted to. So when I put the cardstock together, we do give some basic white, both in thick and regular. I like to use the thick basic white for my card bases. And then the regular basic white, I use that for stamping, okay? I did separate them out, so you'll see that when you get this kit. And you can feel my little test that I do is I'll hold it like this, and whichever one is a little bit flimsier, I know that is the regular, and the one that's a little bit sturdier is the thick basic white that I use for card bases. Okay, so I wanted to point that out. You're also going to get 2 greens in here. So we've got our Mossy Meadow green, which is the darker green, and then you're going to have the old olive green, which is that little bit of a lighter color. So don't get that mixed up, and if you do, it's okay. You know, don't worry about that. Okay. So that's the card. You get a whole stack of this cardstock here. I think there's like 24 sheets there maybe. You're going to get a half of a sheet of the two-tone, I guess this isn't DSP. I'm trying to remember what they call this. This is the, here I can tell you when I look at this instructions here. This is the Secret C, so they just call it cardstock, two-tone cardstock. So the cool thing about this cardstock, and you'll see me do this little technique a little bit later, is that the core is white. So our Stampin' Up cardstock is dyed all the way through, which is fantastic. But this unique two-tone cardstock has a white core, so when you tear it or you sand it down, which we'll be doing today, you're going to reveal that white core, and it just gives a really cool element to your project. All right, and then you're going to get half a pack of some designer series paper. We got 2 different packs of DSP here. We've got, and I'm forgetting the names of it already. So we've got the Country Woods DSP, and then the other one is called the Need for Tweed. The Need for Tweed is a new designer series paper. So this is the paper here. So you're going to get half a pack of each of those. Okay, flip that over and show that to you. There we go. So we are going to use all of this product on our projects that we're doing this week. We're going to do 2 projects a day for the next 6 days. Okay. So I hope you guys will enjoy this. This is like I said, this is a new style of event for me, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun. All right. So now, even though this is considered a craft along, you may not be able to do everything in the same speed as I'm doing it, obviously, because I've done the projects already before, or whatever the case may be. So don't get frustrated. Know that you will be able to watch these videos, and you'll also have the tutorial. So I think I mentioned to you that the tutorial is free if you purchase the class, that kit that I just showed you. And then it is free to my team members. in the Beehive, and then you can get it for free if you place an order of $50 or more this week. And then the cool thing is we just found out there's going to be free shipping this week. So stay tuned for that. So you could take advantage of the free shipping and then get these 12 tutorials. All right, let's jump in and get started with these projects. So we're going to go in order of the tutorial. So the first one here, this is actually a little adorable box that was designed by my friend Rhonda. I'm going to put those away there. My desk is already so busy. Oh my gosh. So hopefully I'll find everything. But here's the tutorial I'm going to go off of. Here, let me show you what the box looks like, you guys. So here is the box. Isn't that adorable? And then you've got that pretty ribbon that you'll get, and you open it up, and then you've got a little message inside. You can put a nice little treat in there. What a great little Cersei gift to give to somebody. I think that that's fantastic. So I'll set that right there. Okay. In your kit, you're going to get 2 of these, but if you don't get the kit and maybe you're crafting at home, maybe you're on my team and you didn't get the kit, these right here are the second largest of the Everyday Arches dies. So you're going to need 2 of those, okay? You're going to definitely need a paper trimmer. And oh gosh, I didn't even talk to you guys about the bundles that we're going to be featuring. So let me talk about that. We've got the Holly Jolly bundle. So it includes this stamp set, and then it's a hybrid embossing folder situation, which is always fun. So there's going to be these dies right here. These are actually 2 rectangle dies. One just layers on top of the other if you wanted to do that. And then we've got this really cool die right here that's going to partially die cut out some of these. So you'll see that a little bit later. Then we've got the Holly Jolly hybrid embossing folder. So when they say hybrid, basically it just means that you can die cut some of it as well as embossing. And this is a 3D embossing folder, so you're going to see that put to use throughout this week. And then we also have the Jar of Joy. So this is a stamp set that just came out recently as an online exclusive. And then here is the punch that coordinates with it. This punch actually has another stamp set that's part of the bundle. And so if you got that earlier, then now you can actually just add on the Jar of Joy, and now you can really multiply your ability to use that punch. Okay, now I've showed you that stuff. You're definitely going to need that, like I said, to make these projects. Now let's start with this box here. I might not go exactly as the directions. I'm going to try my best to stick very closely to the directions, but if I don't, forgive me, okay? So what we're going to need here is you're going to need a piece of your crumb cake cardstock. And this is a crumb cake cardstock that measures 8.5 by 11. That's how our, regular cardstock comes. You can also get 12 by 12. But anyways, we're using this. This is what you got in your kit. You're going to need to cut a piece down to 8.5 by 4 1/4. Now, typically 4 1/4, I would cut right here and it cuts it in half. But I'm going to actually put it in long ways because this is already 8.5. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this at 4 1/4 right here. Just make my life a little bit easier, less cutting. All right, now that you've done that, we've got 4 1/4 by 8.5. Now we are going to, we're going to score it, okay? And in your tutorial, you're going to see you've got a little diagram there. But I'll just go ahead and show you that we're going to put it in landscape, so the long way here. And we're going to measure this end, or we're going to place this end right at the 1/2 inch mark, and then make sure you don't cut. We're scoring, so make sure you got your cutting blade up there. Now we've got our scoring blade. We're just going to score it at 1/2 inch, and then we're going to slide this down to 3 1/2. Okay, and we're just going to score it right there, and then we're going to slide it down to 4 1/2 right there. And then I'm going to need to open up my arm here, and I'm going to slide it down to 7 1/2 right there, and score. You can also use your scoreboard if you like that better. It's up to you. Now we're going to take it and put it on what they would call, in the directions it says, your short side. I call this putting it in portrait mode. But anyways, you're going to line this edge up at the 1 inch mark. And we'll just score right up there. And then move it all the way down to the 3 1/4 inch mark. All right, and now we've got these pieces, this piece right here that's going to make our little box is all scored for us. Right. Next step is we're going to take a bone folder. We're going to go ahead and burnish all of those score lines, make nice creases here. I am right now at my craft office in my house, and it's on the 2nd floor of my house. And guess what? The air conditioner has gone out on the 2nd floor. So I'm actually up here melting right now. And then I've got all of these lights shining on me right now so you can see these projects really well. And ooh, I am roasting. So hopefully I can make it through this video. But they're coming tomorrow to take a look at it, so that's good. All right, now that we've got this, what I'm going to do is have you take a look. I'm going to kind of put it this way. You've got the 1/2 inch tab on this side, and then this is a little bit longer, right? I'm not exactly sure how long, maybe an inch or so, or maybe a little bit more than an inch. So this is the orientation I want you to kind of have it in so that we can do this together. Let me grab some of my paper snips, and we're going to start cutting. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut. Just going to miter that right there, and then we'll also miter it right here. When you do that, it just makes it easier when you're putting a box together. So you're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so we're just going to miter or angle it up right there to that score line, and then same on this side. Oops. Try to make it a straight cut, but you know, sometimes. There we go. All right, those go in the trash. Doing good. You guys still with me? All right, now what we're going to do is we are going to just cut these edges off here. And then we're going to cut right up the score line here. I hear little feet right outside of my door right now. Okay, and then we're going to cut right here. He knows that I'm on a video, so hopefully he'll stay out there until I get done. All right. So I'm sorry if I'm moving this around on you guys, but anyways, then we're just gonna, let me cut up this one too. I have to like orient myself. So we're gonna cut up to this score line. You're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now this is what the box is going to start to look like. All right, like that. Oh, actually, it's going to go this way because this is the little lid at the top. All right, so here we go. So the little short tab is actually on this side. All right, when you go to fold this in, you do want to miter a few more edges so that it closes nicely. So this right here, this edge right here, and this edge, I'm going to go ahead and angle it like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so when you do it that way, if you keep this line straight, when you go to glue this, it's going to be kind of flushed against the bottom there and help you with forming the bottom of your box. So you'll see I did the same thing here. This is straight, this is mitered, and then you're going to glue it like that. Okay, are you with me so far? All right, and then when you tuck this in, then that's what's going to make the box. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show it to you again. Let me open it up, and if you have the tutorial, you'll see it on the tutorial as well. Okay, so you can see here how it looks. Now we're going to add adhesive to these tabs right here. Come on, glue. Liquid glue is like the best when you're making boxes. So then you can just pinch the edges together here, like so. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay. There we go. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we are going to do these little tabs. feel like I'm really slowing down with this box, but hopefully if you were behind it all, you're catching up with me. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we better probably miter these two pieces right here. Actually, I did already. It just seems like maybe I need to do it a little bit more so it can really fit into the box easier. So let's do that. There's that. And then we'll do it on this end. Okay, there we go. Now you'll see it slides in like this, and then that little flap just tucks in, and that makes just the cutest little box. Isn't that adorable? I just love it. And we're gonna decorate that so it'll be extra cute. Now, you've got these two arches that I mentioned that will already be included in your kit. And if they're not, like if you didn't get the kit and you're doing this with me today, then you're gonna want the, I think, second to the largest. It says it in the directions too. It's the two arches that are 3 5/8 in width, okay? So you kind of know. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna score these little arches. You're going to want to measure and put it at the 1 1/8. Okay, let me see here, 1 1/8. Now, something that we noticed is that at the 1 1/8, it seems like, I don't know, it seems like it could have done okay at the 1 inch mark too. I'll have to try that offline and I'll let you guys know, but in the directions it says 1 1/8, so we're gonna keep it at that. So there we go. And then we're gonna score that. So you are lining up this edge here to 1 1/8, okay? All right, so now we're gonna take these and we're gonna just burnish these there and there. And then we're going to adhere these two tabs together. Grab our liquid adhesive again. If you guys are watching with me, definitely let me know if you are somebody who is a Christmas in July fanatic. Do you like Christmas in July? Or are you kind of like, no, I'm not ready for it? I feel like Christmas just kind of sneaks up on us, even though we know when it is every year. It just comes up so fast. And so the idea of Christmas in July, even though I know it's a marketing ploy, is such a good one. It helps people to get ready. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm checking to see which way my box opens up, and I am going to add some adhesive to the top of this. Okay, I'm gonna add it like right there, and I'll add some on this side too. And I'm just gonna line this up with the top here, trying to center it and push that flap onto it. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same on the back side. So now this was the issue that I was having earlier, is that, you know, it seems like there's a little bit more room here than I want there to be, but that's okay. It still works, it still looks great. So we're gonna put that on there like that, and then I'm gonna set my punch on top of it and let it dry over here. Okay, now let's work on the decorations for the box. So you are going to need some of your designer series paper that's in your pack, and you could use any, honestly, any of them look really good. I used the darker one for my sample, but then I grabbed this one out to be able to kind of give it a little variety. I think this is the one that's actually used in the tutorial. So let's go ahead and cut that. You're gonna need a die cutting machine, or if you just have a circle punch, that works too. This is the largest circle die out of our Stylish Shapes dies. And if you guys don't have these are a must, okay? I use them quite a bit. This is what they look like. You're gonna want the largest one out of there. And when you're making a sandwich, if you're die cutting, you're gonna need your first plate, your second layer plate, then you're gonna need a die cutting plate. You'll place your paper down, your circle die, and then we'll run it through, put your other plate on top to sandwich it and just run it right through. Now, while I have my die cutting machine out, I'm gonna actually do a little bit more die cutting and embossing too, so that we don't have to keep moving it. All right, so now you've got this piece here that we're gonna use to decorate our box. The other thing I was gonna mention is that you're gonna need the white. So part of, let me put this back here. Part of the bundle I showed you earlier are these little dies here. I'm gonna go ahead, because you're gonna need one of each of these anyway for our projects. I'm gonna go ahead and die cut these out of the basic white cardstock that you're gonna have. So I recommend using the basic white that's just regular, not the thick. Grab a piece of that. And I'm just going to, let's see here, a little bit more than 3 inches. So I'm just gonna slice off like 3 1/4 there. Okay. Like I said, when I'm doing videos, I try to cut as much as I can for you, but for something, a class like this, being able to see every single step is actually pretty helpful. So we're gonna go ahead and place this larger rectangle die and then the next one right next to it, because we're gonna use both of those on the 2 projects that we're doing today. I'm gonna put my die cutting plate over the top. Let's run that through. Great. Okay. Make sure I put those back. All right, so we got those 2 different sizes. As you can see, they just kind of layer together if you wanted them to. All right, we'll set that to the side. We've got a little bit more die cutting. Let me go ahead and do that. So on our second project, we are going to need to die cut out this here, the embossing folder. So let's go ahead and do that so we can use them on both projects. So how that's gonna work, I'm gonna cut the real red down. All right, let me bring this in. Let me see what the measurements say on the real red. So this is that card I was talking about. So you're gonna need the little flowers or holly leaves. And so we're gonna need real red cardstock that is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. Okay, that's 1/4 of the paper. That's easy. So 5 1/2. Okay, set that to the side by 4 1/4. I love this paper trimmer, you guys. If you don't have that paper trimmer, I highly recommend you get it. Okay, so now we're gonna grab that embossing folder, this one right here, and you'll see that there's the Stampin' Up logo on this side, okay? You are gonna take the die that looks like this, and again, like I said, it doesn't cut these all the way out, it just kind of cuts a portion of it. So this is going to sit on the side. Let me find where it goes. I believe it sits on the side, yeah. So it sits on the side with the cutting part facing up, the side that has the Stampin' Up logo, okay? Then you're gonna place this piece of real red cardstock over it. Try to cover as much of it as you can. And then you're gonna close down the embossing folder, and then we're gonna run this through the machine. And you're gonna need to change your sandwich for the machine. And it gives you the little cheat sheet instructions right here if you're not familiar with it. You're gonna place it right here, okay? And you just need the first platform, and then you're gonna need a specialty platform plate, and it's like a dark gray, almost like a basic gray. It's number 4, as you can see there. You'll place that over the top and run that through. And I'll show you what it's gonna look like. It's gonna look cute. If you're familiar with Stampin' Up, then you've seen this kind of a hybrid embossing folder, because they brought it out a few years ago and they've been using it quite a bit. All right, there we go. Now when you take this out, you'll see, do you guys see how it doesn't quite cut it all the way out, right? So that's the look we're going for right now, because we're gonna actually cut it out. So we're gonna take, for this project here, we're gonna take one of the flowers here, let's do this one right here. And so I'm just going to take my paper snips, and where it's connected, I'm going to just snip it. So it's connected on 3 little spots, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to need one on the inside. I don't know if I showed that to you or not, but we will. We'll need one on the inside. Let's do one of these little ones. So we're going to do this one right here. Okay, I'm just going to cut that out and then snip it right here. Okay, so those are the 2 that we need, and I'm going to save this because we're going to use this for our second card. All right, so there we go. We've got this, we've got this. Well, now we're cooking. All right, now, oh, and then we also have this because you're going to need this little one for this. Now we're going to need some scrap white. So let me get that white cardstock back out that we used earlier. And I'm going to stamp this cute little jar. I just think it is adorable. You guys are going to love it. Where'd I put it? All right, we're going to use Memento black ink for this, and we're going to stamp the jar. And you want to stamp it kind of low so that you're able to feed this cardstock through the punch, right? So I'm going to stamp it right there. And then we're going to take this little snowman guy. He's so cute. Ink him up. I love a good 2-step stamping where you like stamp it and then you stamp something over the top and it just keeps layering the colors and all the things. I just love the way that looks. All right, so let's put that ink to the side. We're going to take this little stamp right here is actually going to be the scarf and the little band on the hat. So if I can eyeball this just right, it should work. So we'll ink it up in real red, and then I'm going to use the band on the top of his hat to help me kind of position this. Okay. Oh, so cute. Oh, so cute. I love it. Okay, and then I don't know if this was in the instructions or not, but we're going to add some Timid Tiger ink to his little nose. There we go. Put that carrot on his nose. So now there's that. We're going to take our punch that coordinates with this and just feed it in here. And you'll see that it punches out the jar. It also punches out the lid to the jar. Okay. So you can hang on to that if you want to, but we're going to actually punch out a green lid. I had some Mossy Meadows scrap paper laying around. You guys are going to get a full sheet of the Mossy Meadows, so if you want to just kind of punch out a little lid from the edge of that paper, that would be perfect. Okay, do that. Right, great. I kind of, let me see what I did with my scissors. So I didn't punch it as fast as I wanted to, so it kind of didn't give me a clean cut there. Usually it does. So that's easy to fix. I just trim off that excess like that. Okay. Now to add this lid on the top, I'm going to add some glue. So I'm just going to put a little tiny swipe of glue on the top of the jar. And we'll apply this lid right to the top. I'm not really looking at comments right now because I want to continue on with the project to make sure that I get it complete, and then I'll take a look at the comments at the end. So don't be afraid to comment. I love to hear from you guys. Okay, so there's that. We've got that stamped. Great. Now this one right here, this is going to go on the inside of the box. You'll see that there, okay? It says, wishing you the sweetest Christmas. So I'm going to grab that, and we're going to stamp that in real red. So you guys, honest to goodness, I'm like sweating. I am sweating so bad right now. I really hope that the air conditioner guy can fix whatever the problem is tomorrow, because this is not good. All right, so wishing you the sweetest Christmas. I'm just going to stamp that kind of in the middle there, just like that. Is that it for the stamping? No, we got to stamp the sentiment. So you're going to have your basic white again. I always have these little strips of basic white because when I'm cutting mats for my cards and stuff, I keep them all. So I've got probably 2 million of these little strips, so I'm going to use it. We're going to grab the sentiment. It says, sending a jar full of cheer, and our Mossy Meadow ink pad. Ink this up. And I'm just going to make sure, let me ink that up a little better. I'm just going to stamp it right there. Okay. Looks so good. I do want to trim this down, so I will trim that down in just a second. Okay, everything's looking good. We're doing all the stamping. Everything's good. Okay, let me grab my little paper trimmer here. Did you guys get this paper trimmer? It was like kind of like a, if you joined Stampin' Up! And got the starter kit, you could have got this for free, and then after a while then they sold it to the demonstrators. And so when they did that, I was able to get my hands on one, and I love it. I love it. I had the bigger guillotine one too, and I love that one too. All right, I wanted to cut this down a little bit, and so I'm just going to trim that. Let's stick it right there. I think that's good. Just has like such sharp, it just cuts such sharp little edges. Okay, so we're going to cut this right where it says sending a jar, cut, and then full of cheer. So let me line that in here, line that up, and just cut. There we go. We got those two sentiments. That's how we're going to decorate the front. Set that to the side. Bring this back in. All right, so I see where the top is. I'm glad I opened that. Okay, so you can see here, here's the top. The lid has that little short piece there. All right, so before we close this up, and you know what? I should have been paying attention to this. When you put this on, you see how this is like where the bottom of it comes up here, and it's like a lot smoother here. I should have lined up the top of the lid so that this was the top. Does that make sense? Let me see if I did it on this one. Okay, I did. So you'll see here, you see how it's like so smooth like that, and then you've got that little, whatever it's called, where the fold is right there. It looks better. Anyways, we'll ignore that. We'll pretend that I did it right. But just pay attention to that so you don't do the mistake that I made. All right, so for this one, we are going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Can you guys hear my son? He is screaming from the bathroom. You know, he's going to be starting school soon, and this summer has really, we've allowed him to stay up a lot later than he normally does. And we've got to nip that in the bud if we're going to get school, like successful start our day at school. Okay, so we're going to put this in. I just lined it up with the bottom. You don't have to, but I wanted to because I'm going to put the little flower at the top. All right, so I'm just going to stick that in there like that. And then we're going to take the little tiny one, and I'm going to pop this up with a dimensional because I think that would be cute to see that in there. Let's see here. Pull those off. Okay, so we're just gonna stick this little holly leaf or whatever it's called. I'm gonna put it right, you guys can't see what I'm doing because the box lid is in the way. There, just like that. And then we're gonna go ahead and add some of the gems. Okay, so let's grab the gems here. I've used quite a bit of them. I love them. And these gems work best with our Take Your Pick tool. So if you have the Take Your Pick tool with the putty, honestly, okay, so this putty is probably not sticky anymore. Let me get some fresh putty in there. It's so much easier to handle these gems using the Take Your Pick tool. So make sure you grab those. So we're just going to take two little ones. You see how easy that was to pick up? Because a lot of times I'll use like the edge of my scissors and then they'll just like pop off and fly. But when you use the putty, I'm telling you, it just works. So we're just going to stick one right there. And then let's get another one. And we're just going to put two, maybe three. Should we do three? Okay, let's do three. All right, let's do three in there. I've used so many of them that I probably won't have enough for my other projects, but that's okay. All right, do you see that? Is that not the cutest thing? Let's do it in the light here. Okay, now we'll close this down. And then we're gonna grab that pretty ribbon. So you'll see with this ribbon, it's a little bit rougher on one side. The side that feels a little bit rougher has more of the gold texture to it, and then this has more of the mossy meadow. So we're just gonna wrap this around. This ribbon is really stunning. Yeah, really stunning. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this around here and tie a little bow onto the side. This always happens when I'm filming, trying to tie a bow. Okay, tie it, and then here. Speaking of tying bows, those of you who have little ones out there, how old are they when they start tying their own shoes? Just curious. Just curious. Okay, I like how long that ribbon is, so I'm just gonna, maybe I'll trim up this one just a little bit. But I love that. It looks so cute and whimsical. All right, so there we go. So there's the card, or the box top. Now let's bring in this right here. So in the directions, let me see, does it say, it just says add it over the ribbon. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to glue it down with our tear and tape. You can use dimensionals if you wanted to. Actually, no, let's do it with dimensionals. I kind of glued it down with tear and tape on this one, but I think for this one, we're gonna do dimensionals. So let's try that. Grab a couple of these, and I am going to put the dimensionals right there, okay? And then we'll add one right here and one up here. All right, so what that's gonna do is keep our ribbon in place. So when you go to open the box, you're able to, like, the ribbon isn't gonna fall off. Okay, does that make sense? You guys following me? All right, so we're going to just add this in here, and I'm using the bottom curve here to kind of give me a nice border. Okay, so there it is. There's that piece. Move this out of the way here. We're gonna take our little jar that we stamped, and we're gonna add dimensionals on this too. Why not? You guys know I love dimensionals. They just make everything so much cuter. Okay, let's grab these. If you guys could see me, I'm not even gonna show you what my face looks like right now because I am, like, literally sweat is dripping down my face. Okay, then we're gonna put it right here. Okay, kind of towards the bottom, and then that's gonna give us room for our sentiment. But before I put our sentiment on, let's grab this one right here. This is going to be, so the way it is on, do I like that? Well, I do kind of like it up there. I'm gonna put it up here. I was thinking maybe I'll tuck it back here to just make it look a little bit different, but I kind of like it on top of the jar, so let's keep it that way. So let me add a little bit of adhesive. So you guys can absolutely switch up these projects, use different paper, use different stamp sets, whatever you want to do. And if and when you do, I would love it if you guys shared it with me. You can share it here, like under this video, or I do have a Honeybee Stampers Facebook group page where you can actually just post. So you could share over there. Yeah, share what you guys are doing. It'll be fun to see. Okay, I'm adding little dimensionals to kind of secure this a little bit better. One right here. Uh-oh, I just took off my nail polish. Okay, all right, so there's that. Now we can take and we can put the sentiment on here. And I'm just gonna put this here. I'll go back and secure this a little bit better later. So I'm just gonna do it like right, oh, that's not right. I was gonna write full of cheer, sending a jar. I guess that would kind of work, right? So we'll use this sentiment here first. So we're gonna stick this, sending a jar, like that, and then full of cheer right there. And then I'll secure those two later off screen, so I'm not taking forever. Okay, so almost done. Can you guys see the difference between those two? Like, do you guys like the darker DSP better, or do you like the kind of the lighter wood? kind of like a whitewashed wood. And then we're going to add some of our gems. Let's grab 2 of the bigger ones, one here, one there, and then we'll do 1 smaller one. I'm almost out of these small ones. Oops, did not mean to do that. Separate these. I do love that we have gems that have the adhesive already on the back. It just makes it so much easier. Okay, so there's that. Put this back. Come on, off my finger. Okay, there. All right, I feel like I'm missing something. Am I? No, I don't think so. All right, so this is the card. This is the little box. It's so cute. And here's our other box, you guys. So there we go. This is like perfect for a little Cersei gift. Tuck a little something in there. These are going to be great for teacher gifts. Oh, my ideas are just running through my head right now. All right, guys, there's the first project. Now, my little workstation is such a mess, but we're going to go ahead with the second card now. Like I said, this whole week, I'm going to be showing 2 projects a day, which is kind of a stretch for me because I don't go live that often. I'd like to go live more, but I just don't. And so this is really fun. This is really fun. All right, for our second card, let me show you this. So you're going to get this tutorial here, okay? And this is going to be the one that's going to show that fun technique, okay, that I mentioned earlier. So this one's kind of easy to put together. So let's get started. You're going to need Sahara sand, cardstock. Now, I had this already cut, but when you get your kit, you're going to get like an 8.5 by 11 sheet of Sahara sand. Just cut it in half at 4 1/4 right here. So you'll have 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And then we're going to score it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and cut and score all of our stuff first, and then we're going to stamp everything, and then we're going to assemble. All right, so we've got 4 1/4. You're going to put it in landscape here across there like that. Bring that down, and we're going to line up the left edge at 2 3/4. Okay, and we're going to score, not cut, but score. I'll put my cutting blade up there out of the way. Right, 2 3/4, and then we're going to slide it down to 5 1/2. And there. Okay, so we've got that. We're going to need that. Now, we are going to need Secret C. That's that 2-tone cardstock that I mentioned earlier. This is like a scrap piece. And you're going to need it to measure 4 3/4. So let's see here. We'll go 4 3/4. So I just need to trim off a little bit of this. You're going to get trim. You're going to get half a sheet of this 12 by 12, okay? So you'll have plenty. And then we're going to turn it to the side, and we've got to cut it down to 3 1/2. So try to stay in my camera view here. 3 1/2. Okay, there we go. And then we got this little scrap left over that you can play with later. All right, what else do we need? We're going to need a die cut. So we already did that earlier with that last project. I die cut out both of them. We needed a smaller die cut for the inside of the box, and then this was the larger die cut. So we're going to need that. I'm not going to die cut it for you right now. You guys kind of know where that came from. So we need that for our project. And then we're going to need just a piece of basic white that measures 4 1/4 by 3. So we'll do 4 1/4 here. Okay. And then by 3 1/4. Okay, so there's that piece. All right, what else do we need to cut? We need to cut some real red. So you're going to have a whole sheet of real red cardstock. And remember, we cut out some of this for those little hollies, embossed hollies. But you're also going to need a piece that measures 5 inches. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut it down this way by 3 3/4. So let me cut the 3 3/4 first. In case I need a bigger piece of red down the line. And then we're going to cut at 5 inches. Did that make sense what I just did? Now we just have this one little sliver instead of a longer sliver. So we've got this piece that's 5 inches by 3 3/4, and then we had already cut the holly leaves earlier. Now we're going to need the designer series paper. That's the Need for Tweed. So this is the other side of it. Isn't that fun? Reminds me of like, I don't know, somebody's old couch or something. Wasn't there, wasn't this the material for these old couches back in the day? Could be a scarf too, but anyways. So we're gonna take this and we are gonna cut this down. We're gonna need this to be cut down at 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm gonna cut 4 out first because this is 12 by 12, so I'll have like perfect, this stuff would be perfect there. Okay, and then we're gonna rotate it and cut it at 5 1/4. 5 1/4. Okay. All right, I think we have all of our pieces. Let's kind of go over them really quick. So we've got our card base that we had to score twice. Then we've got our Need for Tweed DSP. We've got our real red cardstock. We've got our white cardstock. This is our Secret C two-tone cardstock that you're gonna need, and then you're gonna need that die cut. I think that's it for this card. I have this card. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I didn't show you guys, but this is the sample that we're making. And it's like a fun fold card. Isn't that cute? Okay, so now let's do some stamping. Get our stamping done, and then we will assemble. So we're gonna take this one. Is that the right size? Yep. And we're gonna take that beautiful Secret C ink. Such an interesting color. When I first saw this at On Stage in Raleigh, I wasn't that in love with it. And a lot of people around me were. They were like, instantly, they loved it. But for some reason, I just wasn't. I was like, it's okay, Now I love it. I just think it's beautiful. So we're going to stamp this bright and happy Christmas wishes in the bottom right corner of that die cut there. Okay. And then we are going to, this basic white piece is going to go on the inside. Okay, like that. And so we're going to stamp this also in Secret C. So this is another sentiment. May the spirit of the season bring you hope, love, hope, happiness, and love. We're just going to stamp that right into the center of this basic white, just like that. Okay. Now our stamping is done. We do have to do some embossing. Okay, so this Secret C piece right here, in order to get it to go from this to this, we're going to need to emboss. So let's set this stuff to the side a little bit. And let me get my die cutting machine. Die cutting and embossing machine back in here. We're going to need the first platform plate. Okay, we're going to need that specialty plate that's this dark gray. And we're going to need the embossing folder, which I've already managed to misplace. Here it is right here. Okay, but we're not going to need the dies. So do not use the dies for this. Set that to the side. Ouch, that hurt. Okay, we're going to stick this in. You're going to want to put the darker color. So this is the dark Secret C. And then can you tell that that's like a lighter version? Let me see if I can round it down. You see, can you guys see the difference there? Okay, put the darker piece against the side of the embossing folder that has the Stampin' Up logo, okay? Because that is going to be, this part right here, this side is going to push the image through, and then this side is going to be raised, and that's what we want, okay? So we're going to place that here and run it through our machine. All right, and when you open it up, look at that. You can see it's already, with the embossing, it already is kind of having some of the white peek through, right? Because the paper kind of broke a little bit. But we're gonna need a tool like this. So this is a sanding block, okay? You're just gonna take this to lift some of the color off of here. Ooh, it's hot, Okay. So my sweet friend Robin actually gave me the sanding block. She gave it to me and everybody else that came to our demonstrator retreat. So sweet of her. So it's perfect. I mean, now we've got all these opportunities. You just kind of swipe along there like you're filing your nails kind of thing. And it'll just lift some of that color off of there. It really does it to the berries. as you can see. But if you wanted a little bit more off of the holly leaves, you could keep going if you wanted to. Okay, so you guys can see that that's got, it's showcasing some of it. Let me actually do just a little bit more there. Okay. There we go. So there's that. Let's see. We are going to need some of these. So this is that one that we die cut and embossed earlier. And I'm going to grab a couple of these out of here. So let's do this one. Just releasing it from where it's connected. As you can see, you see how it's kind of lifted there. Let's do this big one right here. Come on. Okay, one more there. All right, and I think we need one on the inside, don't we? Oh, nope, we don't. We just need those two. That works. Okay, so now let's start assembling, you guys. That's the fun part. We're gonna take this piece right here and just gonna fold it at the score lines and burnish those edges. It actually should go this way. And then we're gonna fold this one back, just like that. We're gonna take this Made for Tweed or Need for Tweed designer series paper. That's gonna go on the inside. Okay, just add that. And then this basic white piece is also going to go on the inside. I think, went nuts there with the adhesive. I think in the sample, she put some embellishments on the inside as well, so you can totally do that. I might do that. Okay, so I'm going to center that. I really like the way that looks. It's got a little bit of texture, and then the sentiment here. Got that glues over. Okay, we're gonna fold it over. This is our fun fold. We're gonna take this real red and we're gonna add that Secret Sea two-tone cardstock to it. Okay. Looking great. And then we're gonna add this piece just to the left panel, just to this panel so that you're able to open it up and make that fun fold. And so we're gonna need, let's see here. I like it that way, I think. We're gonna add some dimensionals here, and then you could just put one like right there, okay? Get that off of there. Okay, now when I put this on, I'm gonna center it so that it's centered on the top, the left, the bottom, the right. All right, so there's that card. There's the fun fold. Now we're gonna take this right here, we're gonna add dimensionals to this one as well. After the end of this week, you guys will have 12 projects. And if you made 2 at a time, you could, really. I think there's enough product to be able to do that. You will be set. You'll be like so far ahead of the game when it comes to Christmas. And these projects are so cute. The girls that designed them, it's myself and 5 of my Stampin' friends. Their designing is just adorable. And, you can't tell like how cute the projects are until you put them together. I mean, I know when they send the pictures over and the tutorials and stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's cute. And then you put it together and you're like, oh, that's really cute. Really cute. All right, so I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to add this right directly to this right here like that. And then I'm going to do dimensionals on this one. I don't know that that's exactly how she did it. My friend Rhonda designed this card, so. But there we go. But it's pretty much that. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is add the twine. So I had a bolt of the twine in my pocket. I don't know why I had it in the pocket, but it's this twine right here. And so I washed it. So let me see if I can find it. Where is it? I washed it and it came out in this big clump. I mean, it was bigger than this. And I was like, I'm not throwing that away. So this is a little bit fuzzier. A little bit fuzzier than it should be, but it works. So I'm just going to do a double bow. So I looped it together, so there's 2 right there. And then I make a little loop like that, and then I twist it around, and then pull it through. Now that I've done that, I can kind of pull the edges or the ends. Okay. And then I'm going to take my scissors, where are they? And just kind of cut that off of there. So as I'm finishing these cards up, make sure that you guys are subscribed to my YouTube channel, Honeybee Stampers. I'll leave links and everything on this so that you guys can get these videos, because like I said, they only last for 30 days on my Facebook page, but over on YouTube, they'll last forever. And then I am looking for, glue dots. Anybody see glue dots on my table? Here it is. Every time. And then please do follow me here on Facebook, because a lot of times I share things on this Facebook page first, and then it trickles over to Instagram, and then it trickles over to, YouTube. So this is kind of where I'm able to communicate the fastest about upcoming classes and events and stuff like that, specials that are going on with Stampin' Up, whatever the case may be. Now let's bring in our gems again, as we're going to use the yellow ones on this. I do love the way the yellow looks on the red. All right, so we've got, we'll just do, we'll just do this one. I might have to put it on the other one since I've got that center showing on here. I didn't do that on the other one, but there, let's do that. Oopsie. There, just like that. And then down here, let's go ahead and add a couple. I think that actually gives it a little bit more balance. Oh, my putty is getting crazy. Who else uses your take your pick tool? And if you do you guys love it? I sometimes forget to reach for it. It's only like $10 and it's great. It's got all these detachable tools, and additional tools that you can use. I love it. I'm going to use this little flat thing on one of the cards later on this week. So you'll see me use that tool. All right, so I kind of put this down a little bit lower than the other one, but that's okay. Oh, we've got some Secret C embellishments also. I'm like bragging about my take your pick tool, but it's acting crazy. Let me get a little bit more fresh putty. You just get fresh putty by pulling off the part that's not so sticky anymore and then twisting it. Just twist it a little bit because like the putty will grow on you. And then you can, there, see, that's much better. Then you can access some new fresh putty. All right, there we go. So there's the card. Am I forgetting anything? Like I said, I think she put some embellishments on the inside, but I'm okay with that as it is, okay? So here are these 2 cards. Let me bring in the blocks that we did. Okay, like I said, these were designed by my friend Rhonda, so it's fun to see other people's design work, right? You guys are used to mine, and then now you'll get to see, how other people make projects using the same product. And I think that that's always so much fun because I learn different things from other people all the time. Let me try to tie this bow here. And I'm going to go check out the comment section really quick and see if anybody has any questions for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is going to be really fun all week, going live or sharing a pre-recorded video with you guys of some Christmas projects. Okay. I'm like seeing the beginning of my video for some reason. Okay, again, this recording will be over. Okay, here are some comments. Yay. Well, hi, Rhonda. I'm so glad you like those projects. I think they're so super cute, too. Don't mind this rest of this mess here. Hi, Joan. Ooh, you're going to try this. That would be so good. A Halloween treat box. That's such a good idea. Hi, Pam. Pam, I am sweating. Like, I feel like sweat dripping down my back. Actually, I can't believe how hot it is up here. And Joan, you're watching all the way from Washington State. How cool. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for commenting. My little sister was born in Birmingham, Washington. So we used to live out there when I was very little. Anyways, so those are the two projects for today. Tomorrow I'm going to go live with 2 more fun projects for you guys. Again, if you want the tutorials for all 12 projects, you can get them for free by placing an order with me in my online store for $50 or more. Remember that there's free shipping coming up, and I'll post about that really soon. And then if you're on my team, I've already sent out the tutorial, so you saw that. Those of you who ordered the kit to go, or like the craft along kit with all the raw materials and embellishments and whatnot, you guys also got the tutorial emailed to you as well. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you again tomorrow night. And yeah, I'm excited for the next couple projects. All right, bye-bye.